hard to imagine many more intense baseball players than Moorestown High's Jesse Specter. The Seton Hall verbal commit combines a hard fastball and some lethal secondary offerings with an unquenchable thirst for victory and a find a way to win competitive drive. Jesse has worked his way into one of the top pitching prospects in the class of 2022. How did he end up in the Big East? Let's find out as we sit down with Jesse Specter on this edition of JBS, Generation Next.
Oh yeah, whoa, look, they can never keep me down, I'm going, and if I ever fail, just know I'll go again. I never quit, cause I know that every loss may lead to another win. I'm going up. I bet when I land, they gon' tell me it's luck again. See that I'm winning.
Welcome back, everybody. This edition of the Jersey Baseball Show, Generation Next, our opportunity to look at a number of the top high school seniors in New Jersey this year. We are privileged to be with Jesse Specter from Moorestown High School. Welcome, Jesse, and good to have you here today.
Yeah, thank you for having me.
Absolutely. So let's just kind of get right into. You are verbally committed to Seton Hall, and let's just start with kind of talking about that recruiting process. What it was like for you when you started getting attention from different schools, as a pitcher, and what drove you to making that decision, playing for a great New Jersey program.
Yeah. So it kind of started out 8th grade year. I was actually a catcher. So I was about, 5'2", 5'3", and about 100 pounds. There was nothing to me, but I had the little bit of toughness that I think was really infectious towards any coach that I played for. And I always had a strong arm. And, the idea was from converting myself to a catcher to a pitcher. And that was really early on freshman year that I started to see big jumps in my arm strength, and arm strength led to velocity. And, as a freshman, I touched 80. There wasn't much to it. I really had to put in work in the weight room. That was the biggest thing. All players should really invest their time into the weight room because that's going to get the biggest results. And, the recruiting process really started to ramp up for me during COVID. Which is hard to believe because a lot of schools weren't allowed to do much with that. And at the end of the summer of going into my junior year, so last year, I was up to 88 at the Northeast Future Games, which was held in Du Bois, PA, playing against some of the best competition that the Northeast has to offer. And at that point, I had a few schools talking to. Seton Hall was always in the back of my mind because I had a really good relationship with Coach Pinkman, even as a freshman and even as an 8th grader. When I started to get on the mound, they kind of knew where I was going to be and where they saw me as. There were a few other schools that I had interest from, William and Mary, Northeastern, West Point, and Elon, and overall it came to best fit for me. Best fit for myself and my conference in the Big East. But you're playing with some of New Jersey's best talent. They really do a great job. Coach Shepard, Coach Pinkman, Coach Pappas, they do a great job of bringing in the best guys to make their team really, really strong. And the new facility, the new baseball field that they renovated is just incredible, and the new sports science labs that they have, it's really second to none. And I couldn't have been happier with my decision to go. And next month signing my letter of intent is kind of crazy, but I'm ready to go. And I just want to say how thankful I am to Coach Shepard and Coach Pinkman, Coach Pappas for giving me such a great opportunity.
You mentioned Coach Pinkman, known not just for at Seton Hall, but I mean he's got a great reputation, nationally as a great pitching coach. Have you been able, to get a good connection with him, and are you looking forward to getting to play for him?
Yeah, right off the bat, going all the way back to when I was an incoming freshman in high school, there was a connection. I went to a camp at Diamond Nation, and I didn't really think much of it. I was, really undersized, and yet I still had the capability of throwing in the upper 70s, low 80s. And, Coach Pinkman just kind of came over to me and was just really, really nice to me early on, and really, really saw confidence in myself on the mound. And he really believed that I could play at the next level. And, I didn't really know what I was capable of at that point, because I hadn't really put myself in a position to be successful yet with going to BPC and really getting in front of the right people. So for him to put that confidence towards me was something that I couldn't really understand. Now looking back on it, it's like I'm here now, but back then it's like you don't know what's going to happen. So he saw something early on, and I guess it really worked out, because I'm going to be a Pirate. And, it's been like 3 or 4 years in the making.
Definitely. So when people see you pitch, I probably the first thing they notice is you're not the usual 6'2", 6'3", ideal right-hander build or anything like that. I mean, you're smaller, right? I mean, how has that helped to motivate you and push you, right? Being a smaller righty capable of, on that verge of hitting 90 and certainly having that in you. And the second thing they're going to notice is tend to be a little on the competitive side. How have those things really kind of shaped who you are out on the mound at this point?
Yeah, I always like to say that I have Scherzer's mentality, but in a Stroman body. And that's what it comes down to when you get in the game, because you really have to be focused, especially when you're pitching in the Big East or against teams like Seton Hall goes up to play Florida this year. If I'm put in that position to come in and shut the door against the top team, you're going to have to be focused and you're going to have to be ready. I really try to shut everything down. I really don't try to look at any screens unless I'm listening to music before the game, something to kind of get me motivated to pitch. And then it's just myself and the catcher. The batter is really not important. The competitive aspect is that sometimes I will let my emotions get the best of me. Like if an umpire doesn't give me a pitch, I'll really, really kind of wind back and try to relax. But the next pitch is really going to come in harder, and it's going to come in over the plate until I can just say that, I made no mistakes in the game, and I was doing everything right. And when people look at me overall, they think, oh, this guy's a middle infielder, second baseman, shortstop type. But, I've played the infield when I was little, but it's not what I really love to do. Pitching was the number one thing that I love to do. And, developing my body over the years was something I really had to work for. And, there were so many hours where I thought maybe baseball is not for me. And even recently, sometimes you think in the weight room, am I not strong enough for the game? Am I not mentally strong enough? But, it's all worked out, and I'm just trying to progress in a positive direction. And, I honestly could care less what people say about me, because at the end of the day, I'll probably end up proving them wrong. So.
That's right. When they're walking back to the dugout after you strike them out, right?
Yeah.
What makes you love it? What's always, even when you were, you said you were a real undersized catcher, scrappy, feisty, what's made you love baseball?
Probably the simple fact that anybody can play it. Especially when I was 5 years old, I was the worst player on the field. You couldn't pick that kid out of the crowd and be like, or couldn't pick him out of a game and be like, this kid's going to play at the next level of Division I baseball.
Yeah.
Now, looking back on it, it's like, wow, there was so much time that people didn't see that really went into the process. And to be honest, that's my favorite part about baseball. It's the process of leading up to proving people wrong, because you never know what's going to happen. You could be affected negatively, or you could use your time positively and go out there and spend your time 5 hours, 6 hours a day, even doing what you love. And it's what I love to do. And hopefully I can do it as a job one day. That would be so amazing to say to people, I'm a professional baseball player.
Yeah, now let's Moorestown last season, great year. I guess first tell us about that pretty good shortstop you play with, Max Martin, who I mean, geez, one of the best, not just in the state but in the country.
Yeah,
And then the way the season ended, such a tough game against Mainland. I mean, it literally ended you against Chase Petty on the mound. You coming in relief, and him starting the game, and really going toe to toe with a guy that a month later is a first round MLB draft pick. Is that something that you can use as motivation, and maybe have used as motivation for this coming year?
yeah, absolutely. The main thing for me in that game was really understanding that I had to throw strikes. Um, there really wasn't any room for failure in that game because it was such a close game.
Yeah,
And to be honest, without Max probably in that game, it wouldn't have been a 3-2 game,
would have
which
been
is
3-0.
to say. Yeah. He hit a changeup that Petty left over the plate, and he hit a rocket, and he just kept running for days. And he got on third, and we unfortunately couldn't score him. Credit to Chase, he's a great pitcher. He's an even better person. Like after the game, we lost, and he came over. He was the first guy to congratulate, or not congratulate, but to say good game to me, which I really think is a class act on his part. And you can really see dividends because he's a first rounder. You really don't see talent like that from New Jersey, especially South Jersey, because it's more been like North Jersey kids, like Jack Leiter and Anthony Volpe throughout the years. So, and to top that off, like, I don't know what goes through Max's head when he's at the plate, but knowing that he's going to hit the number one player, possibly one of the greatest baseball players to come out of South Jersey, and be confident at the plate, that's something that you really don't see every day. And that's what's going to put him in that pro position this year. And, there's going to be scouts at the games to watch him, but there's really no pressure because he just enjoys the game. And so do I. And, we're best friends off the field, but on the field, we're hard on each other. And that's what makes us, good to play with. And, that's something you really don't see.
That drive to be great, I guess, is what you're saying, right?
Yeah, I mean, some days it's waking up at 4:35 for him, and him texting me, be like, "Do you want to go hit 5 in the morning?" I'm like, "You're crazy, but let's do it."
Yeah. We just talked about Chase Petty, and that brings up the BPC connection. That's a place that you've grown to train a lot at. I know that you don't love the Marcus Stroman comparisons anymore because you hear them so often. So I said, well, how about we go with the Mike Adams comparison, because Mike, obviously he's not the biggest guy. He's hitting 100 now. First of all, what's it like training there, and what has that meant to you? And second, what's it like to see him, kind of live out his dreams a couple years maybe after he thought he would?
Yeah, I mean, training there, especially with Mike, it's something that's really valuable to my game. Without him, it's probably would have been a really downhill spiral almost. He's developed me since I was a freshman in high school, and I was little and scrawny, but still had the ability to throw it hard. And now look at me now, I'm still little and scrawny, but I'm stronger. I'm learning more about the game every single day because I have him as a tool, and he's such a great guy. You can talk to him about anything almost, and he'll be there for it. And to see him live out his dream is probably something that he really deserved it. There was nobody else that I thought could have deserved it. And especially what he's been through, trying to do that for the past few years, and, perfecting his mechanics to help other guys, but also perfecting his mechanics. It's something amazing. It's really out of a movie. So I'm just really happy that he's in the position he is, and hopefully he'll be with the MLB team soon. I hope there was a chance this year, but the Phillies had other ideas, and we'll definitely see him in a Phillies uniform soon.
Hopefully next year, right?
Yeah.
So once fall ball finishes up and you're playing with one of the BPC teams, right, this fall, what's the off-season plan and the off-season goals for you so that you are ready to go and have a great senior year?
Actually, I did happen to take off this fall. I did pitch a number of innings
Okay.
during the week, just trying to get in front of live hitters. Because it was more of a developing thing with me. I think, I lost a little bit of weight, which wasn't the best, but I really, really got in the weight room and I gained it back, and I put my mental toughness back on switch. So, it was something that I had to really push myself towards when it was the hardest thing I could do. And sometimes I would question whether or not this is for me, but it really is for me because this is what I did before I fell in love with it because it was so hard, and for the high school season, we have some young guys that we can build around a team. And obviously Max and I are going to be the leaders of this team. And, it's been a disappointing couple years that we've played in our league. We were the favorites 2 years in a row to win our division, and we've always come one game out of it. And to get so far in the playoffs and lose to a kid like Chase Petty, it's heartbreaking, but at the same time, it makes you want to work harder because we're going to be a good team this year. And, people might have us as lower. Like we don't listen to any of the NJ.com rankings or nothing, but we know that we're a good team. People just have to watch us play and see us practice, and it's really a legit program that we have.
So some welcome questions to those who don't know you that well. Welcome, get you on the radar and be part of the next college generation. What do we like doing outside of baseball, if anything?
Outside of baseball right now, it's been pretty much school. During the summer, I had a summer job because, your parents don't want you staying in the house, and obviously you need the money as a teen. So
yeah,
you got a little bit extra money in your pocket, but, just hanging out with friends, is a big thing for me. Having that social part of life is just something that I can't really take away, Other than that, it's really much just down to baseball and getting the work in, because there's really no time for error, and getting my schoolwork done. Of course, schoolwork's a big thing, applying for college this November. So it's really been a journey, and it's all just beginning,
Yeah, Seton Hall, not just an awesome baseball program, but a great school too.
Yeah, I could be more pleased.
Yeah, what do you plan on? Do you know what you're going to major in yet?
I'm deciding between physical therapy and sports management. To be honest, I kind of really see myself as a baseball scout or a coach in college baseball because that's really what I love to do, and it's I love to talk about it and kind of just reminisce about the game to some people. Even though they may not want to hear it, I'm still all over it, and it's really something that I'm passionate about. So hopefully that, or even better, become a professional baseball player at some point.
That's right. After your major league career is what we're saying, right? We want to make sure we play that out as far as we can, right?
Yeah.
Favorite music to listen to get yourself ready for games, or just away from games?
Oh, that's a tough question. I listen to a lot of country music. I feel like
South Jersey thing.
Yeah, even before games, like it kind of gets me in a better mood in the morning when I go to school driving. I'll listen to it, even though I'm barely awake. I'm still like having a good time jamming out. And I really like heavy metal before baseball. That's something that I really discovered like only like a year ago, like Slipknot and stuff and Linkin Park. That stuff is really, really good for getting your point up before a game.
If you could be a D1 athlete in any sport other than baseball, what would you choose?
Oh, I would choose golf.
Yes, good answer.
I love playing the game. It's way harder than baseball, I'll tell you that. If people think if it's easier, you're completely wrong. That the technique and the practice that has to go into that sport is ridiculous. And I have family that really appreciate the game, and I appreciate the game. So I would definitely choose golf.
Your proudest moment on the field that you can remember?
The proudest moment of playing, that's a really tough one. There's so many that stick out, but I feel like pitching that game against Mainland was probably one of the proudest moments that I've had.
Yeah.
Though we took a loss, it's one of the best games I've ever pitched in my life. And to most people's surprise, there was a bunch of scouts back there. There's a bunch of people came to see the other guy. But when the people at the end of the day, they were talking about me too. And, it's kind of crazy to hear the story shift from one side to another. So
yeah,
just
heard so many stories from guys who get discovered when scouts are there to watch somebody else and they just have a great game. And not that you certainly had a great year and your situation was done beforehand, and but to that's not a surprise at all. You kind of grab that moment, and four shutout innings that game for you, I guess, in relief, right?
Yeah, our pitcher Wyatt Atkinson, who's on the Kings, shout out Kings, by the way. Gonna be
right.
The ball team ever, yeah. What's it called? He got hurt. A kid had collided with him at first base on a ground ball. And unfortunately he couldn't continue in the game. So I had to really come in and shut all my emotions off and really get down to business. So
mentioned the Kings. Jesse will be part of the inaugural South Jersey Kings ACBL season. We're excited and can't wait. And but we got some baseball before that. So
yeah,
let's have a great off season and be ready to go. And just excited to have you staying in state 2023 and beyond. And look forward to following you, and certainly appreciate you taking the time today to introduce yourself to everybody.
Yeah, I just want to say thank you for giving me the opportunity, not just for the Kings team, but just for letting me come on and tell my story a little bit. It's been good.
Absolutely. Yeah, Jesse Specter, today's guest, part of our Generation Next series. We're looking at guys who are going to be that next group of players to make an impact at the D1 level and in college. And we appreciate the time, and we'll see you down the road at the field, I'm sure.
Yeah, I appreciate it. Thanks again, and good luck with everything with NJ college baseball. I know that you're doing some hard work. I see all the posts and stuff. So,
all righty, thanks, Jesse.
Yep.